Hi again, Risa here, back with another episode of Ask Risa. This is my fortnightly video series where I discuss some common wedding planning questions and problems that you might be having if you're trying to plan your own wedding. Well, this week I'm going to talk about something that has not previously been common, but is now going to become common. If you have watched this series for a while, you might realize that I have been trying very hard not to talk too much about coronavirus. I've mentioned it at the beginning of every video, but I've still just been trying to put out content that is relevant during normal wedding planning times. But I think it's time to just face facts. We are not going to be in normal wedding planning times for a very long time to come. I honestly believe it's May 2020 right now. I believe that anyone planning a wedding for the next 18 months needs to incorporate some coronavirus mitigation efforts into their wedding planning and has to be prepared to have a plan B and potentially a plan C as well. I'm talking all the way through like October of 2021. So it's not just 2020 that's going to be affected by this. It is going to be 2021 as well. And we just have to find a way to deal with it and live with it and think outside the box, as they say. So I want to talk about your wedding reception entertainment because BC, before coronavirus, it was mainly dancing. You know, after dinner, you'd maybe do your first dance and then dances with the parents, and then it was party time until the end of the night. And people were packed on the dance floor, people are sweating, people are real close to each other, they're like shouting into each other's ears, they're putting their drinks down and coming back to get them later. Not a care in the world about who's been breathing on that drink in the meantime, and you know, maybe they didn't even pick up the right drink after they put it down. That is a nightmare scenario during a global health crisis like the one we are currently experiencing. So that's not going to happen. Like, you are not going to have that kind of dancing at your wedding anytime soon. And if you don't realize that already, I'm sorry to be the one to break that to you, but dancing is not happening. You can still have your first dance, you can still have your parent dances, but you're not having party dancing, not anytime soon. Not going to happen. If you have been paying any attention at all, you know that COVID-19 is transmitted through droplets. So the longer you are exposed to someone or the more droplets that you're exposed to, the higher your chances of getting infected are if that person's infected. So high intensity expulsions of droplets, for lack of a better way to phrase that, are like coughing, sneezing, shouting, singing. Low intensity is more like talking, breathing. So you can be around a person talking to them for longer than you can be around a person who is like singing or coughing, because you'll be infected in a heartbeat if they cough in your vicinity. Whereas you could talk to them for a little while, they're expelling fewer droplets at that point. So we have to think about things that are going to minimize people's exposure and minimize the amount of droplets that can be shared among people. And dancing is not one of those things. Like, it just can't happen. So I have a bunch of suggestions for you as to things that you can do to entertain your guests at your wedding that do not involve packing the dance floor with a bunch of people. So your DJ will typically play low-key music during dinner and then shift to the high-energy music later for the dancing. So instead of shifting to the high-energy music, you just play the low-key music all night. And, you know, they can still, generally the songs that are part of the first dance and whatever, those are also reasonably low-key. They're usually romantic slow songs. You just have to make sure you've got a small dance floor. Make sure it's tiny. That way people are not encouraged to get up and dance in any way, shape, or form. And if the DJ is not playing dancey music, then that shouldn't be too much of a problem. There are some DJs who typically, like, you know, even in normal times, incorporate games into their service, like what they do. Most of the time they do those during dinner. It's kind of a way to keep people entertained while they wait for their food to come out. But you can easily shift this to do the games after dinner, and like that becomes your entertainment component. Now, I will say that the games I have seen done by DJs at weddings are sort of high touch activities. They involve a lot of shared surfaces. One of them was Mad Libs. And so like people were using the same pencil to fill out all their Mad Libs, and then the DJ would like read some of them. You don't want to do that. You don't want anything involved that involves touching by multiple people. People who live in the same household, fine. People who do not live in the same household should not be touching the same things, like full stop. So you'll have to talk to your DJ, find out if they do games, you know, if that's something you're interested in, and then come up with a way to make it as safe as possible so that people aren't touching stuff. You could also do live musicians instead of a DJ. So at your ceremony, maybe you'll do like a string quartet, and they'll do the music for your ceremony and for your cocktail hour. And then you'll have like a jazz trio or another, so like a brass section or something come in and play for dinner and post dinner, because it's a lot more interesting to watch live musicians play than it is to watch a DJ. Like, nobody's there to watch a DJ, they're there to dance to the music the DJ's playing. But with live musicians, like think of the symphony. People go to listen to the music and watch the musicians play it. There's literally nothing else going on. So you could have that be the entertainment at your wedding. And again, they can play for your special dances just as well as a DJ could. So that is definitely something to think about. And then I have a bunch of ideas that are not musical in nature. So you would still need some sort of music element, because you still need music for your ceremony and you still need music for your special dances and stuff like that. But you can also incorporate some of these other things into your wedding reception as further entertainment. So you do have to be a little bit careful with these, because if you've done wrong, it might turn into like a kid's birthday party type of a thing. So one of my suggestions was to get either a mentalist or a magician. And if you don't know what the difference is, a mentalist is someone who, like, they're kind of akin to psychics, but they basically read the room, and they're really good at reading people, and they will ask questions and they will observe the answers, and then they will read people's minds and like divine information about the group just based on their heightened sense of observation. If you ever watched the show The Mentalist or the show Psych, both of which I watched and loved, they are doing like mentalist activities. So it can be kind of entertaining and people usually enjoy it. Or a magician or an illusionist, if you're an Arrested Development fan. Can you tell I watch a lot of TV? Magicians, you know, they can perform magic without touching guests or anything like that. They don't need to like saw a lady in half or anything like that. There's card tricks and, you know, all kinds of stuff that they can do that doesn't involve touching anyone. So that can be an entertaining non-musical option. You can also hire artists of varying types. So one idea would be to hire a portrait artist, and you could have them, they would, you know, set up a station and they could sketch quick portraits of, you know, couples or small friend groups. You know, again, you don't want people to be in close proximity to each other for very long, but for the amount of time, you know, 5 minutes or whatever that a guy or lady sketches a portrait, you know, maybe that works. Or if you really like caricatures, you could hire a caricaturist. That, in my opinion, starts to like move us a little bit further into like carnival down at the boardwalk territory, but hey, you know, it's your wedding, you do what you want. And then my other art suggestion is a live scene painter. I have talked about this idea before because I've never had a client do it, but I've seen it done at corporate parties, and I think it's super cool. Basically, an artist comes, and this would work better if they were going to paint a scene from the ceremony because it happens early in the night. So they set up their easel and all their gear at the ceremony, and while the ceremony is happening, they're, you know, sketching out and doing the sort of laying the groundwork on their art for what's happening. And then throughout the rest of the night, they fill it in and they continue to augment it and keep painting, putting in details and things like that. And so guests can like check in on it as the evening unfolds and see how it's coming. And then at the end of the night, you can do a big reveal and reveal the finished portrait. And then you have this amazing piece of custom artwork from your wedding to hang on your wall at home. It's just like, it's the most amazing idea. And I really want one of my clients to do it because like I said, I've seen it in action and it's just so cool. It's marvelous to watch. So that is like, definitely, if you are a fan of art, consider having a live painting done at your wedding because that's super cool. And then another thing that I have never seen done in a wedding, but I have seen it in real life at a corporate event, is a fire dancer. And that is every bit as cool as it sounds. So this woman, she's local to the Sacramento area. I saw her at a venue party earlier this year. She, she has sticks that are on fire on either end. She has a hoop that has like multiple flames in it. She tosses them up in the air. She's dancing. It's crazy. It's like so cool to watch. So you could definitely hire her and that would be highly entertaining. Obviously, you have to be having an outside wedding. You're not doing a fire dancer if you're getting married inside. But you should be getting married outside anyway because it's safer. And that's something I'm going to talk about later. So those were all of my ideas. I know that they're different. Your wedding may not be exactly what you envisioned it to be. And that sucks, and I'm sorry, but we do have to sort of get used to this new reality. But on the bright side, without the party dancing of a traditional wedding, you might actually save money. Because if you think about it, typical wedding goes until 10 or 11 p.m. Well, if you're not doing the party dancing, you don't really need to go that late. You can go until like 8 or 9 p.m. And that saves you a lot of money because that cuts way down on the amount of alcohol that people are drinking. And that is one of the biggest expenses of having a wedding is the food and the alcohol. So 2 fewer hours of drinking saves you a lot of money. And with your other vendors, you may not need sort of extra time. So like a lot of DJ packages are 5 hours and then you can buy additional hours for an hourly fee. Well, you're not going to probably need to do that. 5 hours should be enough. Or, a photography package. Instead of getting the 10-hour package, maybe you can get away with a 6-hour package and, that's less money. So it has upsides and downsides. I know it's not ideal, but, we're doing the best we can here. So it's going to be a long time before we get back to the way things were. So I am going to continue talking about how to plan a wedding during a global pandemic. Next time in 2 weeks, I am going to talk about how to have a socially distanced yet still in-person wedding. So not a virtual wedding, people are there, but you are helping people keep their distance from each other. So I'm going to talk through some ideas about how to do that. And that's where having an outdoor wedding comes into play because being outside is safer. There's more room for the droplets to disperse. And yeah, so who knew that I was going to, start having an epidemiological component to planning a wedding, but we're all just doing the best we can here. So let me know if you have any questions and if you think of any other great ideas for wedding entertainment that do not involve packing the dance floor all hours of the night. Let me know because I'd love to hear them and I'm sure other people would too. And I will be back in 2 weeks with some more COVID wedding planning tips. All right, bye for now.